What if the real reason anger keeps controlling people is not because life is too hard, but because the mind has never been trained to stay still when pressure hits? Think about it. One rude comment, one delay, one person ignoring your effort, one small moment and suddenly peace is gone. The day feels heavy. The mind keeps replaying the scene. The body gets tense. And later, when everything is quiet again, regret steps in and asks a painful question. Was it really worth it? Now imagine something different. Imagine staying calm when others expect you to explode. Imagine hearing insult, facing delay, meeting disrespect, and still remaining clear, steady, almost untouchable. Not cold, not weak, just deeply in control. That kind of peace is not fantasy. It is a skill. And once you understand it, people will no longer be able to pull your emotions like strings. In this video, we are going deep into a timeless way of thinking that can free you from anger, frustration, and mental noise. We will walk through simple but powerful ideas that can help you stay grounded in hard moments, protect your peace, and move through life with more strength than reaction. Stay with me because the deeper we go, the more practical this becomes. And near the end, I will pull everything together into 5 core principles you can actually use in real life, not just admire in theory. If you have ever felt tired of being triggered by small things, this may be exactly what you need to hear. The first shift is simple, but it is stronger than many people realize. Learn to return to gratitude when anger starts rising. Most frustration grows in the space between what is happening and what we think should be happening. We look at what is missing. We look at what is unfair. We look at what went wrong. And the mind, once it locks onto lack, starts feeding the fire. But gratitude interrupts that pattern. It changes the angle of your attention. It reminds you that even in a difficult moment, not everything is broken. There is still breath in your lungs. There is still a lesson in front of you. There is still something working, something holding, something worth appreciating. The next time irritation starts building, pause for a second and force the mind to name 3 things that are still good. Keep it simple. Your health, your home, a person who cares about you, the chance to begin again. This is not denial. It is discipline. It is training the mind not to worship the problem. And when you do this often, something changes quietly inside you. The small things stop feeling so powerful. The long line, the rude stranger, the unexpected delay, the mistake that would normally ruin your mood, all of it begins to lose force because your mind is no longer trapped in scarcity. It is no longer staring only at what is wrong. Stay with this point, because it sounds small, but it can change the whole atmosphere inside you before anger even has time to grow. The next principle is one of the most important. Respond with calmness instead of reacting with speed. Most people do not actually choose anger. They slip into it. The moment happens, the emotion rises, and the mouth moves before wisdom arrives. That is why the pause matters so much. A pause is power. A breath is power. Silence for even a few seconds is power. When something happens that could trigger you, do not rush to answer. Let the first wave pass. That first wave is often heat, not truth. It feels urgent, but it is usually impulsive. The mind says, answer now, defend now, prove now, attack now. But calmness says, wait, look again. A delayed response is often a wiser response. When you pause, you begin to notice something life-changing. The event itself is only part of the problem. The judgment you place on the event is what turns discomfort into anger. A person interrupts you and the mind says, they do not respect me. A driver cuts in front of you and the mind says, this always happens to me. A friend forgets something important and the mind says, I cannot trust anyone. The event happens once, but the mind keeps adding meaning to it, and that extra meaning feeds the emotion. If you can catch that in real time, you can stop anger before it takes over. Watch this carefully. You do not always control what happens, but you do control the story you attach to what happens. And that story decides whether you burn inside or remain steady. Another reason people get bothered so easily is because they carry hidden expectations into every part of life. They expect people to be fair. They expect traffic to move. They expect messages to be answered quickly. They expect others to understand them, appreciate them, agree with them, behave properly, act mature, and never disappoint them. Then reality shows up and does what reality often does. It breaks the script. Someone is late. Someone is careless. Someone is selfish. Someone does not give back what you gave. And frustration grows fast. But if you want peace, you must become more aware of your expectations. Many times the pain is not only caused by what happened, it is caused by the picture in your head of how things were supposed to go. The tighter you hold that picture, the easier it is for life to disturb you. This does not mean become passive. It does not mean stop caring. It means stop demanding that life obey your personal script before you allow yourself to be calm. People are flawed. Days go wrong. Plans fall apart. Misunderstandings happen. When you accept that this is part of human life, you stop being shocked by what was always possible. And when you stop being shocked, you stop being emotionally dragged around by every inconvenience. This is a major turning point. Peace grows when reality is accepted faster. The person who expects less from the world is not empty. They are often more stable, more resilient, and far harder to disturb. If this is hitting home, stay with me because the next idea makes this even stronger. You also need to remember that emotions are temporary, even when they feel huge in the moment. Anger lies to you. It tells you that what you feel right now is permanent, urgent, and necessary. It tells you that you must act while the fire is hot. But if you watch carefully, you will see that emotions move like weather. They rise, they peak, they fade. No anger stays at full force forever unless the mind keeps feeding it with attention, memory, and imagination. This is why learning to observe emotion without obeying it is such a powerful skill. When anger appears, do not become the anger. Notice it, name it, feel it in the body, the tightening jaw, the hotter chest, the racing thoughts, the urge to speak sharply. See it all, but do not hand it the steering wheel. Just because a feeling appears does not mean it deserves action. This changes everything. A person who can sit with emotion without collapsing into reaction becomes extremely hard to control. Think of anger like a wave. If you panic and throw yourself into it, it carries you. But if you stay still, breathe, and let it pass, it loses shape and power. Many problems in life become worse because people react in the middle of a temporary storm and make permanent damage with temporary emotion. A message sent in anger, a sentence spoken in pride, a decision made while offended. Then later comes regret. So the next time emotion rises, remind yourself of this simple truth. This will pass. I do not need to become it. I can outlast it. And often, just remembering that is enough to save you from saying or doing something you would later wish you could take back. There is another truth that can remove a huge amount of anger from your life, and it is this. Other people are carrying battles you cannot see. Their behavior is not always about you. In fact, much of the time, it has very little to do with you. People speak sharply because they are tired. They act cold because they are hurt. They become rude because they are overwhelmed, insecure, jealous, afraid, or full of pressure they do not know how to handle. This does not excuse bad behavior, but it does help you stop taking everything personally. The moment you make every action about yourself, you hand your peace over to strangers, co-workers, family members, and anyone else having a bad day. That is too much power to give away. Imagine someone speaking to you with sudden anger. You can react and match their fire, or you can step back inside yourself and think, this pain may have started before I entered the room. That small shift creates distance. It protects your center. It keeps you from absorbing what does not belong to you. This is one of the strongest forms of emotional freedom. Not everything deserves a personal response. Not every disrespect deserves inner collapse. Sometimes the wiser path is to recognize that another person is acting out of their own storm, and you do not have to step into it with them. Watch how powerful this becomes in daily life. The cashier is impatient. The driver is aggressive. The coworker is tense. The friend is distant. Instead of instantly feeling attacked, you begin to see human struggle at work, and that vision softens the urge to react. Stay with me because now we move from understanding anger to actually weakening its roots. One of the hidden roots of anger is ego, not in the loud, proud sense only, but in the quiet sense too. The part of you that wants to be right, respected, noticed, obeyed, understood, and treated exactly as you prefer. Much irritation grows from wounded self-importance. You feel ignored, so anger rises. You feel challenged, so anger rises. You feel corrected, delayed, overlooked, or disagreed with, and the inner self says, how dare this happen to me? But the calmer mind asks a different question. Why am I giving this so much importance? That question is freeing, because many things only hurt deeply because we have made ourselves too central in the story. The world will not always confirm your value. People will not always honor your effort. Some days you will be misunderstood. Some days you will be dismissed. If your peace depends on constant outer validation, then your peace is fragile. But if you learn to stand on inner discipline instead of outer approval, you become far less reactive. You stop needing every room to reflect your importance back to you. You stop turning every small offense into a personal crisis. This does not make you weak. It makes you lighter, stronger, harder to shake. And this is where real freedom begins. The less your ego demands from life, the less anger life can create in you. Think about how much conflict is fueled by one simple need. I need them to see me the way I see myself. But peace begins when that need loosens. You can let some things pass. You can let some words die in silence. You can walk away from proving, correcting, and defending every little thing. That is not defeat. That is mastery. Now let us make this practical, because peace is not built only in big moments. It is built in ordinary moments repeated again and again. When you wake up, remind yourself that the day may bring delay, noise, mistakes, selfishness, confusion, and difficult people. This is not negativity. It is preparation. A prepared mind is harder to surprise and therefore harder to disturb. If you expect every day to unfold smoothly, then one problem feels like a personal attack. But if you already know that life includes friction, then friction does not shock you. It simply meets you. And when it meets you, you are ready. Another practice is to slow your speech when you feel heat rising. Anger loves speed. Calmness often moves slower. Speak lower. Move slower. Breathe deeper. Do not let urgency take over your body. Also learn to leave space between feeling and action. If you are upset, do not answer that message immediately. Do not make that decision immediately. Do not confront immediately unless it is truly necessary. Give yourself room to return to reason. And here is another powerful habit. Review your day honestly. Ask yourself where you lost control, where you stayed calm, and what triggered you most. Not to shame yourself, but to study yourself. The person who studies their own patterns becomes less predictable to anger. They begin to see it coming. They notice the signs sooner. They interrupt it faster. Keep watching, because the next part is where this way of thinking becomes more than emotional control. It becomes a whole new relationship with life itself. A calm life does not come from controlling everything around you. It comes from controlling what happens within you when life refuses to cooperate. This is the deeper lesson. You cannot stop people from being unfair. You cannot stop delays, loss, insults, noise, bad moods, misunderstandings, or random difficulty. But you can become someone who meets those things without surrendering inner order. And that is a rare kind of strength. Most people think power means winning arguments, dominating situations, forcing outcomes, or making others behave. But a deeper power exists. The power to remain balanced in disorder. The power to keep your character clean in ugly moments. The power to leave chaos outside instead of carrying it inside. Imagine how your life changes when not every inconvenience becomes a wound. Imagine how much energy returns when you stop replaying every insult and stop feeding every irritation with mental attention. So much of human exhaustion comes not from what happens, but from how long the mind keeps wrestling with what happened. The calmer person is not someone with an easy life. They are someone who learned not to multiply pain through reaction. This is why inner peace feels so strong. It is not passive. It is disciplined. It is trained. It is chosen again and again. And if you keep practicing these ideas, you will notice something beautiful. The same things that used to ruin your mood begin to look smaller. The same people who used to trigger you lose their grip. The same situations that once felt unbearable become manageable, sometimes even easy. That is not because life changed first. It is because you did. So let us bring everything together in a way you can carry into your own life starting today. First, return to gratitude when anger tries to narrow your vision. Second, pause before reacting, because calm response is almost always stronger than fast emotion. Third, question your expectations, because much frustration is born from demanding that life behave according to your script. Fourth, remember that emotions are temporary, and you do not need to obey every feeling that rises in you. Fifth, Stop taking everything personally because many people are acting from wounds and pressures that have nothing to do with you. And beyond all that, keep training your mind daily. Guard your inner world. Watch your thoughts. Notice your triggers. Reduce the power of ego. Practice patience in small things so it is available in big things. This is how peace becomes real. Not in one perfect day, but in repeated moments of self-command. If you live this way, anger will not disappear forever, but it will lose its power to rule you. Frustration will still knock, but it will not always be invited in. And over time, you will become the kind of person who can stand in the middle of tension without becoming tense, who can hear noise without losing clarity, and who can meet difficulty without giving away dignity. That is a beautiful way to live, quietly strong, steady under pressure, free from the need to react to every little thing. If this message spoke to something in you, do not just admire it, practice it. Test it in traffic, in conversation, in disappointment, in ordinary stress. Because the real proof of wisdom is not how good it sounds in a video. It is how well it holds you together when life gets hard.